at the moment, Nashville Predators. So we have plenty of positive, enthusiastic, exciting, wonderful NHL hockey to discuss, and we won't even stop the hockey talk there. We will continue it with some men's Division One hockey talk as we are up to the Frozen Four. In that, we'll get you up to speed there. We'll have plenty of other college sports to discuss with our NCAA tournament at the Final Four now with the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 wrapped up. We'll get you all up to speed on what happened there and preview the Final Four best we can, and also a little bit of NCAA women's basketball news, hopefully getting you up to speed on where their tournament sits, and, of course, some NBA pro basketball news involving possibly your Minnesota Timberwolves, and a look around the league here at the end of the regular season. Holy guacamole. That's quite a show we got that we're going to try to squeeze in this week. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're saying to yourself, Scotty Ball, there is no way that is going to fit. That is just too much, Scotty Ball, to fit into such a small, tight area. To which I reply to you, thank you, and B, you should just relax and not worry about it, and trust me, maybe even have another drink. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that not only will I be able to fit it all in and truly go balls deep as only I can, but I think you might find that you will in fact enjoy it every bit as much as I will. Alright, well, let us cease with the tomfoolery for now and officially get this show underway with our first segment, and that would be our hit opening segment, as you would know, regular listeners out there. And this week we have several worthy topics, as always, but I find myself almost equally, feeling equally strong or passionate towards a couple of different things. So this really is a toss-up. Place your wagers if you do that. But alas, where are we going? Where are we going? College basketball, pro basketball, WrestleMania. Nope. Here's what we're doing. Say it with me, everybody. 3, 2, 1. Our hit opening segment. Let's try that again, everybody. Say it with me. 3, 2, 1. Balls on fire. What has got me, yours truly, Scotty Ball, the most on fire, the most heated up this week? And in fact, this week we are starting with something a little different, something a little oxymoronic. Now, you would know if you're a regular listener that when we talk hockey here on Balls Deep Sports Talk, we call it Balls on Ice. And like I said, the hit opening segment here is Balls on Fire. Well, it just so happens this week that Balls on Ice is Balls on Fire. That's right, Balls on Ice equals Balls on Fire. And so that means that this week we are starting the show dedicated to my and possibly your Minnesota Wild, who find themselves on a 6-game winning streak, cruising into an 8th and possibly even 7 seed in all reality, even though the NHL likes to call them the top wild card seed and the bottom wild card seed. But locked in almost 100% here into the 8th seed. I want to say 1 or 2 more wins and it's clinched. And even then, it would take a tremendous, epic, historic meltdown here in these last 5 or 6 games that we have, in addition to the Avalanche re-catching heat, which they have been struggling the past few weeks. And right now, either of those things happening seems highly unlikely, let alone both. But you never know. That's why they play the games, and that's why we keep an eye on stuff. But where we are right now, to coin a phrase from a man PA on KFan. The Minnesota Wild look 100% playoff ready for Torchetti. Playoff ready for Torchetti. That's right. Again, that's copyright Paul Allen, KFan. I'm a big fan and listen all the time. And I try and pay it forward and spread things around best I can on my show. But, however, like I said, there are still a few games left. 5 counting the game tonight. 4 after the game tonight. The game tonight finds the Wild at home at Xcel Energy Center, taking on the Ottawa Senators. I've been waiting all day to do that. I love it. I'm like, how am I going to say this? Should I call them Ottawa? Or, I was trying to think all the different ways I could mispronounce the city of Ottawa. And then it hit me. I was like, Ottawa? I don't know. Anyway, hosting the Senators tonight, and it is looking very likely that by the end of the show I will have a final score to share with you. Hopefully it'll be our 7th consecutive victory. Because just as the way the weeks and the shows have been going, I have to do it in patches here. So even though it is by no means the end of the game or even the beginning of the game right now as I'm recording this, it'll likely be over by the time I finish the show. So if that is the case, which it likely will be, I will share with you the Wild results from tonight against the Senators. Now, the remaining 4 games take place Friday, that being tomorrow, on the road. So they have a home game tonight and then a road game tomorrow night, and that is in Detroit at the Red Wings. You never like back-to-backs, especially when they're on the road, but really Twin Cities to Detroit ain't that bad of a flight, and it shouldn't play too much of a factor. Plus, where we're sitting in the standings, which I'll make clear in a couple minutes, these games now aren't so must-win every single one like they were a few weeks to a month ago. But then after that, they'll have a day off on Saturday. Then they play on Sunday night, 7 o'clock, against the Winnipeg Jets. And then their final 2 games of the year are both at home. That first of which being on the 5th of April, hosting the San Jose Sharks, and then 3 days off until playing again on the 9th of April, their final game of the season, and that is at home hosting the Calgary Flames. So you gotta think, hopefully win tonight against the Senators, win against the Jets, win against the Flames, maybe lose tomorrow night at the Red Wings and lose hosting the Sharks, maybe, even though they're not playing their best hockey right now either. And the Wild are a scary, hot team right now, and that's how NHL playoffs seem to go. It's very common to see a 6, 7, or 8 seed advance to the Cup Finals and even win the Cup Finals. So, I say this with every sport. I really do, because I feel it's true. NBA would maybe be the one exception, but the only requirement to win a championship, one of the few things that every championship winning team has in common, is they all made the playoffs. They didn't all win their division. They weren't all a top seed. But you gotta be in it to win it. You can't win the Powerball lottery jackpot if you don't have a ticket. Same difference. So even though the Wild are going to be the 8 or 7 seed in the West, most likely the 8 seed, but it is possible they could jump the Predators yet, who are in front of them by about 4 points, I wanted to say, heading into tonight. Again, we'll get into that in a moment. But I can't stress enough how insignificant home ice and seeding is in the National Hockey League playoffs. It really is irrelevant. It's all about getting hot at the right time. And some of the typical ingredients that you see teams, who achieve from that spot, things you see them have in common, and things that I like and I see in this Wild team, are depth, speed, discipline, and extremely good goalie play. And good special teams, penalty kill and power play. And the Wild, right now, and for the past several weeks, have had all of those things firing on all cylinders. The one thing that I am a little concerned with for the Wild, and I think this is what will take the Wild out of the playoffs, not, running into a superior team or anything like that. What I think can and may and will, if they don't win at all, ultimately take the Wild out of the playoffs is the level of fatigue that they you would think are going to arrive at some point, because of how they had to get their spot in the playoffs. We've basically been playing in a playoffs of our own for the past month. We've been playing under playoff-like circumstances and expectation and energy for a month now, maybe even 2 months. And when you do that for so long, right before the big final, pushing the chips all in home run stretch, it is not inconceivable or uncommon even to see those teams then just run out of gas at some point in the playoffs. And that is the one fear that I have with the Wild. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen, but if and when we lose, I'm guessing that would be the reason. Now, the reason that I'm not fearful or dreading that happening, and in fact the reason that I think the Wild may very likely overcome that or avoid that and just win throughout the playoffs, is a combination of two things, and it starts, and its foundation is depth. Now, this is a team, the Minnesota Wild, that we, at least here in the state of Minnesota, and most people who follow hockey around the country and the world, believe that this team has been and is a considerably talented and considerably deep team. Now, where the Wild haven't always been able to flourish this season and past seasons with that in play is the second ingredient that has been missing for most of the season up until the last month or so, and that is health. Okay? Depth can help you weather the storms when you don't have health, but depth can't overcome for a long period of time, or the ultimate goal, a lack of health or an abundance of injuries. Depth can only allow you to tread water when you don't have health. Okay, that's a good way to think of it. Depth is just a way that allows you to tread water when you don't have health, but you're not going to be able to thrive and flourish. Okay. However, if you add health to the depth mix, then all of a sudden you've got all these different possibilities that are available to you now. You can rest some of your good players from time to time to keep them fresh. You can mix and match different line combinations. You can ask players to specifically focus more on specific responsibilities as opposed to asking players to do a lot. It makes so many more positives possible when you when you add health to depth. Without health, depth is just a way to stay mediocre, stay afloat. But with health, all of a sudden depth becomes an extremely valuable asset to your sports team, to your hockey team in this case. So, since the Wild are healthy now, as long as they can continue to be healthy, they should be able to avoid hitting a wall of fatigue from all the